Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom was the greatest Transformers fan film of all time. I'm here with Gloria 720p. Alex, let's backtrack a little bit before we talk about Kingdom. What were your thoughts on War for Cybertron Siege when it first came out?
It was pretty okay. I kind of liked it at first, but after when I watched it the second time, I found it kind of boring. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's just not very remarkable or anything
That's
like that.
that's
Just
pretty much where I was at with
yeah, the bad voices, stuff like that.
yeah. Um, it just felt like a Transformers show on autopilot, almost like without a soul. Like an AI read every Transformer script and then uh, output its own, just turn the brightness down. I mean, I will say, like, the scripts are competently written. They have cleared setups, payoffs, they have a very proper arc for each episode and an overall arc. It was all planned out very well, but it just lacks a spark. It wasn't engaging to me. I didn't make a Siege video because I honestly just had nothing to say about it at all. So now let's jump to Earthrise. What were your thoughts on that one?
It was better. Um, there were some cool fight scenes in there that I liked, like Optimus Prime versus Scorponok. Um, the animation, of course, it still looks pretty good. Very detailed, very detailed. I like the environments. I should have mentioned this before, but I like the environments in this trilogy. Like they look super detailed, especially like the smoke. It looks super realistic for some reason. And yeah, I guess I like Earthrise a little bit better. I thought Galvatron was cool. His introduction was kind of goofy, but he's cool. I like his voice too. It's one of the good voices in the shows.
I feel I have similar feelings about Earthrise. I liked it more than Siege simply because it actually made me feel something. I just thought a lot of the ideas on display with Earthrise were really unique, like the Quintesson sawing his heads off or whatever. The ship stuck halfway through a space bridge. Just like they know the Transformers mythos and lore, and they spun some things and did some very interesting things with them. Overall, though, just didn't come together well because of the voice delivery. I don't know. Like every character takes these pauses for no reason. No one talks like an actual person. And then also the animation is just very, very stiff. It looks good. I like the art style. It's like based on the IDW Dark Universe or whatever.
It's just the toys.
Yeah, it's like obviously this budgetary. The writers didn't say like Gavin Hignite didn't stand up on his chair and he was like, guys, what if we use the CAD models of the toys? But that was out of their hands. It's unfortunate, but no, it's just the toy CAD models for the vast majority of the characters, and it
All
looks
right, as a Unicron trilogy enjoyer, that doesn't bother me.
yeah, of course it doesn't. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I mean, I was okay with Kingdom, but the voices and several other factors just held it back. And now we have finally reached Kingdom, which came out today. I just finished it about 10 minutes ago.
I finished it hours ago.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you first, what were your thoughts on Kingdom?
Well, I was watching it with like a friend of mine. He seemed to really like it. He really liked the character models, particularly. I think overall Kingdom is the best out of the three. There were some cardinal sins committed with the voice acting, like Megatron. That was probably one of the greatest sins in Transformers history, his voice. But it's kind of weird because like after I watch it, I kind of understand why they chose that voice because he was kind of the normal Megatron's lapdog the whole time. And all right, like David K's voice is too he sounds too much like an alpha male, all right, to voice him like that,
I get that, yeah. Yes. So I don't hate the actual voice there. The actual voice, the actual performance is one of the better ones, and he would fit very well in a lot of other shows. I just don't think he was cast well as that character. He would work as several other Transformers villains, even. I just don't think that Beast Wars Megatron, the big Shakespearean Sean Connery lizard man, was the right fit for that performance. No hate towards the actor at all. I respect everyone who worked on this and their involvement.
Yeah, like Optimus Primal though, like his voice is good, but like the performance is so bad.
Oh no. And again, a lot of it is just the dialogue. All of the dialogue is exposition. Oh, like episode 1 was just like 19 consecutive minutes of here's the plot, here's our backstory, here's the backstory to this. And a lot of the lines are written in ways that no one talks. And so it's a lot harder for these non-union voice actors to deliver the lines well because they're written so unconventionally. Peter Cullen, he could make any lines sound good. He turned some trash scripts into good performances. But he's a seasoned veteran actor, like non-union folks, they just don't have the same experience as someone like a Peter Cullen, a Frank Welker. And so they're not able to turn that around, as well as a lot of people were just casted for voices that weren't quite in their range. If something's in your range, then it's in your range. And if not, like that's not a measure of your talent. It just means your voice can't go to those levels. Something that bothered me, or I've noticed this in like the last decade, is that Optimus Prime no longer speaks with contractions. Like they don't let him say won't, can't, wouldn't. He would only say will not, cannot, would not. Back in the 80s, he would have had a line like, We've got to stop Megatron with the old corny music, like and then in Transformers Prime, the line would have been written like, "It is paramount that we do not permit Megatron to escape." Like
it's like they're kind of like erasing history because like I feel like a lot of people think that Optimus is supposed to sound like that.
Yeah, because in 1986 Transformers the movie, he does talk like that, and that influenced everyone's memories that they almost forgot what he sounded like in the old actual 86 cartoon.
I mean,
Optimus Prime to me,
Optimus had to like really be serious in that movie because it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. To me, Optimus is like a father figure. He doesn't really quite understand Earth culture, but he really enjoys it and he wants to protect it. Like, there's a line in Transformers Prime where Jack's like, "Hey, Optimus, you want to watch this?" No. It's really funny, but I don't think Optimus would say no to that, or at least the Optimus in my head.
You mean in G1?
In G1, yes.
Yeah.
And then this Optimus, oh man, I feel bad saying this. I just don't want Jake Fushi to continue voicing the character. I'll loop back to that later. Like if they specifically wrote this character as Peter Cullen would deliver the lines, it's just obviously it's not the writer's fault. It's the higher ups refusing to go with union actors. But why hire an impression artist when that actor is still alive and still available? It's just I don't know whose fault that was up the line. I don't know if the writers knew it was non-union, like when they signed on as writers. They probably did, but it's just disappointing. It's just disrespectful that he based that character on his brother, his deceased Marine Army hero brother. It was just a personal character to him, and then they ripped it away from him and gave it to a Vine star. It's just, I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me.
I feel like people wouldn't be complaining about the trilogy if the acting was good. I feel like people would have like loved Siege if all the actors were good.
Well, imagine David Kaye bouncing off of Frank Welker. Get Gary Chalk in with Peter Cullen. Oh my God, people would have forgiven the writing, the exposition. This would have been completely celebrated. Hasbro, like, having Beast Wars crossover with the classic legacy, like G1 Autobots, they had the ball in their court and they just completely dropped it. It could have been fantastic. And I think they did a lot of things really well. Before I jump to the more Kingdom discussion, I want to talk about Optimus in Kingdom. On top of just the lines he had, I don't think he was written well at all. There's this moment in episode 1 or 2 where Airazor is captured and oh, spoilers, by the way. Airazor is captured, and Optimus Primal says, "We have to go after her." And Optimus Prime insists, "No, she may be in danger, but we'll all be in danger. We cannot risk the mission to go after this one soldier." And it's like, no, that is the polar opposite of what Optimus Prime should be. And I get it, there has to be tension between the two characters, but you are betraying the character in having him refuse to save Airazor. And like, yeah, he shows up later, but he shouldn't have refused in the first place.
I find it interesting that Optimus Primal seems to hate Optimus Prime at
I
the
liked
get-go.
that. That was an interesting. I mean, I don't know. Okay, a little
I
bit
don't know, but
aggressive for Optimus Primal, but I liked that. You know, he lost the Matrix at the end of the second show, and then in the beginning of the third one, he's like, "If you're a real Prime, show me your Matrix." I was like, "All right, you know, that's clever, a clever dilemma based on the current situation he's in."
yeah, but like Optimus Primal, like it's just what was I gonna say about Optimus Primal? Because he's his voice, it's okay. Like it sounds good. Like his voice sounds good, but like the performance is kind of like not great.
Oh yeah. It just I don't think he clicked as Primal. It's a mixture of badly written dialogue and like less of, you know, veteran performers who don't know how to handle that. Because I'm wondering, like, did every page of that script have constant ellipses on every line? Was
I
that in
wonder.
the script? Like, it's just
Also, if Optimus Primal hates Optimus Prime so much, then why does he look like him? Why does he have his name?
well, I think it's because he mistook him for Nemesis at first, but yeah, that's a good point. He's named Optimus.
Weird.
That's funny. So I liked a lot of the character pair-ups they did in this, like Starscream with Dinobot and Black Arachnia, you know, pairing the two Megatrons together. There's a handful of other ones. Rhinox with Wheeljack. It shows that the writers really understood the shows and the characters, and they put them into like the most dynamic team ups, smaller groups. With the, you know, Black Arachnia and Starscream like betraying each other back and forth. Really, really smart. How they utilized a lot of the characters, but so many of the characters they introduced from Beast Wars like did nothing. Cheetor was just kind of there. And another issue I have with this is that Transformers just needs new fans. It needs to be like revitalized in the public consciousness. It hasn't really been big since 2007. And when they just introduce like 12 Beast characters at once, no new audience member is going to really be able to follow that. Because, you know, obviously Beast Wars fans, they know who everyone is. They know who Tigatron is. And yet at the same time, the big plot twist is that Megatron is Galvatron. It's like, who is this for? Is this for new fans or old fans? Because it seems to completely go in two different directions and doesn't know who it's for.
I mean, I was watching it with my friend and he really liked it. But I think it's part of it is sort of because I explained a lot of the lore to him beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, who the Beast Wars characters were. He said it. He thought it was well written. He liked Dinobot. He liked the, you know, he liked the Optimus thing going on. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure. It makes me feel like maybe it has a bigger effect on non-fans than I initially thought.
Maybe it's like prep up the non-fans with a few episodes of Chris McFeely's The Basics, and then set them on their way, and then they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dinobot. Let's talk about that. They pulled a speed run on his entire character arc. They did 3 episodes, and then he went through the entire arc that he went through in the original Beast Wars cartoon. And it's like, I went to the bathroom to go pee, and then I came back, and Dinobot was dying.
You see, this is why you don't leave the Netflix playing when you go pee. Okay, I hate people who do that. My mom does that.
If it was engaging, I would have paused it, but I just wanted to get it over with. But yeah, I think they understood the character of Dinobot. I like how they handled it, but it's like they didn't really do anything too interesting or different with it. It really was just like speed run Dinobot's arc, like a watered down version of it. Like they understood the character, but they didn't do much with it. It just felt like a retread.
He died didn't he die like 3 episodes in?
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna die in like the 5th or 6th episode.
But no, he died in episode 3.
And then he became a ghost or something.
Yes.
And then there was this weird thing with the maximal sparks are in this sort of purgatory because the old spark is gone or something.
I don't understand any of the spiritual lore. It didn't make sense to me. I don't like that stuff. I'm so personally done with the Allspark as a plot device because it's so vague. It's just a Deus Ex Machina machine, and it never makes sense. And it just moments are always written to be so epic and dramatic, and is never earned when the Allspark's in play.
I like the whole symbiotic relationship the Allspark has with the Cybertron.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It feels like they tried to lay out rules for how the Allspark works, unlike most other Transformers shows and stuff. It feels like they at least attempted to.
Was that literally the same animation model from Cyberverse, that Allspark?
I don't think it's the same, but it looks very similar, doesn't it?
Definitely based on that one. There's a lot of Cyberverse influences on this trilogy that I'd like to see. Like when Cheetor first shows up, it reminds me of how he shows up in Cyberverse.
What was his voice? I don't even remember what his voice sounds like in
I don't know.
This show.
He didn't really do anything. Rat Trap had a good voice, really good performance, delivery, and impression of Scott McNeil.
It was okay. I mean, it didn't appall me. But you know what's criminal is that there's no Waspinator in this show.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up next. I noticed 3 episodes in, I was like, wait, where is he? Because he wouldn't fit into their dark, edgy war.
Wait, the only Predacons I think are a Megatron, Scorponok, Black Arachnia, and Dinobot if he even counts as a Predacon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just so it's what 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Is that just 4? They only showed 4 Predacons.
Yeah.
Not even Pterosaur or
Oh yeah, he wasn't in it, huh?
There was no Pterosaur, and there was. Well, there was it's just. There was of course I didn't do any of the transmetal stuff or anything like that.
That stuff's so dumb.
The transmetals is too advanced for Kingdom.
Too high IQ for a casual viewer just tuning into Netflix.
All right, I kind of wanted to see Beast Wars Megatron just go out in a conflict with the normal Megatron, and then he becomes a dragon or something, like Transmetal 2 Megatron.
Speaking of the 2 Megatrons, I liked their dynamic in this. When Megatron, or when our regular gray Megatron's you have to change your name. It's oh, that's interesting. I like the dynamic those 2 had.
You know what? If it was up to me, I would have the traditional David K Megatron. But the original Beast Wars Megatron, highly respected Megatron, but I don't think he would lick his feet like that. I don't think he would be a bootlicker to the normal Megatron.
Yeah, he was more Starscreamy in this.
I think the Beast Wars Megatron would after this Megatron wrongs him a few times, I think he would pull a great betrayal on towards him.
I think so, actually. I think Beast Wars Megatron would probably take matters into his own hands after a while.
He would, because to prove that he's a greater Megatron or something.
Mm-hmm. I'm a very casual Beast Wars fan. I haven't watched every episode. I've only watched half of season 1 and a couple.
I've watched it. I've watched the whole series twice.
But even I noticed that Tigatron was just angry. And he's supposed to be like a very calm, reasonable warrior, but he's just like perpetually angry the whole
I
time.
mean, you don't really notice because he doesn't have that much screen time anyway. But like,
Mm-hmm.
his face is the same as Cheetor's. It's just the exact same.
I know, because
It's just the Cheetor character model, but like upscaled, and they changed like the tiger face on him or something.
because they're Ridico's, or I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce
but
it.
the original Beast Wars cartoon didn't do that.
I know.
That moment when the second animated the second animated cartoon ever made like just one ups you.
um, um, and then Tigatron and Airraiser. It's like they didn't really have time to explore their relationship, so they just didn't, and they just implied it. I don't know. I
Like
guess that
they
worked.
hugged that one time.
Yeah, they hugged. Oh, but then Airraiser as Loki cheating on him with Black Arachnia at the end.
I think that's just a reference to like that scene in the Beast Wars where Rat Trap is like my hero and he kisses Rhinox, but like they did it with those two instead.
Oh, I don't remember that scene. Okay. But yeah, when Black Arachnia calls RC cute, it's like by confirmed Black Arachnia. That I had never thought about that before, but that actually makes a lot of sense for her
What if they put Silverbolt in this show?
Remind me who that was. I don't remember who that was.
You know what? Oh my god, this would have been so much better if they just put Silverbolt in the show and he was like in there with Starscream and Black Arachnia and he was just like being a fool or something.
Oh, is he the one that Black Arachnia falls in love with?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know who that is then. What was I going to talk about next? Starscream finally does something in the Prime Wars trilogy. And I like the way he was written. How him and Black Arachnia kind of like one-upped each other in their betrayal, and like Black Arachnia basically like broke him down as a character. I liked that. One thing I will say is that because Transformers essentially reboots every single year, that means that the writers have complete creative freedom every time to reinvent the character. But I do think it's a great thing overall. But one downside is that it starts to get repetitive because you have to have some of the same essential plots every time. Starscream betraying Megatron, doing something sneaky.
I love
show.
Starscream in Kingdom, right? Because
I do, but it gets repetitive.
He reminds me of like Armada Starscream a little bit because he gets the disc and he sees Unicron and he like tries to warn everybody that Unicron is going to destroy all of them, and that's exactly what he did in Armada.
I liked that.
He knew that Unicron was a threat, and he tried in Armada. This is specifically what Starscream did. All right, he fought Galvatron in Armada so that the Autobots and the Decepticons could team up against Unicron, and he died. He basically died for the sake of like getting the Autobots and the Decepticons together. And after he died, Galvatron agreed to team up with Optimus, and that's how they fought against Unicron and Armada. And that's like it was a very similar thing here, and I really liked it. I don't think enough people are talking about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, like Kingdom, I have a lot to say about this one. I don't think it came together overall, but there are a lot of elements that I liked, and my instinct is to attribute all of that to May Cat because everything she touches just has these little like. It pulls from previous aspects of the franchise in very interesting, creative, and fun ways. Everything from this franchise that she gets her hands on as a writer. I wanted to talk about Bumblebee. So in Siege, gosh, he was awful. Just having Bumblebee be this angry loner, I refuse to be a part of your fight. It's the opposite of what his character should be. But then they basically gave him like the Alpha Trion protocols, and that was like he had his character arc just uploaded to his brain, and that was my least favorite part of Siege. That was the only part of the writing of Siege, besides the actual specific dialogue, that I would call a very bad overall decision. But then all of a sudden in Earthrise, he was great. He was just a very loyal, optimistic, Dan Gilvezan-esque Bumblebee. And he stayed that way for a while, but then he has that scene at the beginning of episode 6 of Kingdom where he blows up at Optimus. Like, the Alpha Trion protocols were installed in my brain, like I have to go with you. They were terrible orders. and he like lightly cusses. um, I don't know if I like that. What are your thoughts on this depiction of Bumblebee?
I mean, I don't know. I guess he's kind of like, he kind of like, he calls out Optimus's, nonsense sometimes. Like, because Optimus, he is not the greatest leader. He is not a great leader at all. He doesn't make the best decisions.
I root for him to lose.
And and Bumblebee, I think Bumblebee is like when he calls out Optimus, he's often in the right, so it doesn't bother me.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, who else is going to call out Optimus? I mean, Prowl. like who? I forgot that Prowl was in this show.
Oh my god, he had like one line, right?
Yeah, and he's like, I just know him for being like really short for some reason. Just because I saw him like next to Elito One, and he was just like super short. It was fun.
One thing that shocked me. This is a big spoiler for the end of Kingdom. They killed off all of the Earthbound characters from Earthrise and Siege. Elito One, Jetfire, Shockwave. I think Barricade was still there, and I was just
bound characters.
I was shocked. I was like, wow. They didn't resurrect them at the end. They went through with it. That was a bold and really shocking creative choice. I was impressed.
The moment that Starscream didn't want to go back to Cybertron because he knew what was going to happen. I knew, everyone on Cybertron's dead. I already knew the moment that Starscream started freaking out.
I love that her arm is sticking out of the rubble right where Optimus happened to be walking on the entire planet.
And then like a little one, she like comes back to life for a split second and she tells Optimus, "I love you."
Yeah, because I think that was
funny.
the line at the end of Siege when they separated, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, I was like, wow, they went through with that. They killed all of the characters from Rise of Siege or whatever, Siege Rise. Just, props to them. I was like legitimately really shocked when I saw Elita One dead. It hit me more than I thought it would. I felt an emotion that the story earned, and then also I loved the visuals of that just destroyed wasteland Cybertron, like with ash flying everywhere. It was haunting. It was really impressive. I liked the look of the backgrounds, like you said earlier.
Oh yeah, and then like Nemesis Prime, they like spent like 5 episodes mentioning him, and he didn't show up until like episode 6.
Yes. So Nemesis Prime is just the Galvatron version of Optimus, apparently.
He's from the future, but like the way the time travel works is kind of like Dragon Ball time travel logic, where like they're from different timelines, and like the future of the current Optimus we see is not necessarily set in stone.
It's just weird that like. I mean, with this version of Optimus, yeah, I buy that he would become an evil psychopath like Nemesis Prime, but it's just a weird choice to have like, oh yeah, Optimus, he'll be evil in the future. He'll work for Unicron.
Wow. It's just, and like Nemesis Prime, he had like these weird powers. Like he could just casually fly like Superman.
There's the part where Bumblebee and Optimus walk up and Bumblebee's like, this wasn't here before, and there's a giant trench in the ground. It's like, why did Nemesis Prime do that? Just imagine Nemesis Prime walks up and he just starts punching the ground until there's a trench there for Optimus and Bumblebee to walk up on.
It's like yeah, you'll know I was here.
I was just waiting for his dramatic entrance.
Like Nemesis Prime had like these weird anime powers. He would just like he would just like manifest random like purple energy into his hand.
So weird.
But like, you know what I got out of that? Now I want to buy a Nemesis Prime toy.
I don't have any Kingdom figures yet. I want to get some.
Me neither.
I like the Beast guys. They're cute.
Now I have to purchase. I will purchase the Kingdom Galvatron and the Kingdom Nemesis Prime.
Twins,
cousins. Because I want it.
I just had a question. Yes. What do you prefer? This or the Prime Wars trilogy?
This easy.
Absolutely.
Not even difficult.
Absolutely. Because like, okay,
the Prime Wars trilogy looked terrible.
Oh, It
Like the
was.
animation was like,
Everything was terrible. Not even Peter Cullen could make that one good. That was mocked at and laughed, and Peter Cullen was in it. Or the last
he
two.
wasn't in it though, right?
He was in the last two.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, with Combiner Wars, I kind of liked it. Fun, a buddy cop adventure to get Megatron with Windblade and Prime. Like, just if you just squint and look at it, I kind of like what it was. It's mercifully short. But my God, the second two, Titan's Return and Power of the Primes, they are the Tommy Wiseau's The Room of the Transformers franchise. They tried to accomplish so much and nothing worked.
I only watched Combiner Wars and that's it. I didn't watch the other two.
Oh, good job.
Good job. I have to force you to watch the Unicron trilogy. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't actually. That's like on my list. I do kind of want to watch that. I need to find time. So I think we should wrap this up now. It's been a while. Do you have any closing thoughts on Transformers War for Siege Kingdom trilogy?
I guess I'll just say Kingdom was kind of good. Probably like a solid 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give it a 6 in that area. I didn't hate it. There was a lot of very creative things on display here, but at the end of the day, like I don't think.
Also, the way it ended, sort of like implied it wasn't done.
Cliffhanger. No, oh my God, I got anxiety when I realized it wasn't done, and they were gonna indicate a return. Like, no, I'm done with this trilogy. Please, please move on.
I have a personal theory, right? You know the rumors about the Transformers Legacy toy line.
Yeah, you've told me.
What if they do something like weird, like they finally do what the Cyberverse staff wanted?
Oh, like an interdimensional series of shows.
Yeah.
But like they do animated, but it's like janky 3D and they don't get Derek or Marty back.
And like Bumblebee has like the worst. Bumblebee and Optimus have like the worst voices ever.
Oh my God, yeah, they do like non-union animated. Oh no,
it's just like our season 4.
Oh no.
They specifically get John and you to voice.
Oh yeah. They get the cast of the Transformers animated season 4 project. Because literally that's like, with all due respect, like that's like the level of voice acting that's on display in Siege. And that's not a compliment to my own projects. It's like they are comparable. And you know, I've none of the voice acting in my stuff is remarkable or anything to be proud of, but I think it is on a similar level to these Netflix shows, or at least some of the characters. Some from Netflix are very, very good. Like Black Arachnia was very good.
I think Megatron's voice is really good. It's just that he talks so slow.
Yes. Are you talking about G1 style gray Megatron?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He talks too slow. Good voice. I really liked the guy they got in Cyberverse. What was his name? Mark Thompson. It's outstanding.
It's so weird that, because like at first I thought they were the same voice actor, but like apparently Siege Megatron is a different actor.
Yeah, it is. And like a lot of the actors from Cyberverse who did a good job in Cyberverse don't do a remarkable job here. Like Sophia Isabella voices Windblade in that show, and she was RC in this show. And like all of a sudden, she's just delivering her lines really weird. It was direction. I really think it was direction.
Yeah, definitely was direction. Where's Susan Blue when you need her?
Oh yeah, Sue Blue, get her back, please.
She would probably take like the most amateur not animators, the most amateur voice actors, and like just make them amazing or something.
She would though. She knows how to guide performances in a really brief amount of time. Like those 22-minute episodes of animated, all the actors did all of their lines in under 4 hours for every episode, and Sue Blue guided that. How efficient do you have to be for that? Like that is insane. That she got like 12 actors in the room, or like 8 maybe on average, got that whole script recorded, multiple takes of everything, really good performances in under 4 hours. I mean, that is phenomenal talent. I would love.
Also, why don't they have Jeremy Levy here?
Yes. Oh man, Jeremy Levy, such a good Bumblebee. God, he if Hasbro eventually turns their back on non-union and goes back to union, I want Jeremy Levy to go union so he can stay with Transformers, because he's phenomenal. Good. Like what's it? Mark Swint as well. Cyberverse Soundwave. Good actor. Really great voice actor. I love him as that character. I want to see him stay with this franchise past non-union if they if they ever move on from this, which I'm sure they will eventually. Yeah, anyways, I love how we said we were going to wrap this up about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
I think that's enough discussion. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think the fandom is going to look back at this trilogy with, love and reverence, but I don't think they're going to look back at it and passionately hate it either. And that's because no one in the fandom will really remember it. It's going to disappear from their heads in a year.
I mean, if Netflix takes it down, it's all over.
Yeah. No one will remember it except for TFI Creations.
Jesus Christ. Are you going to leave that in the video?
Yeah, he's been he defends it. He's like, every tweet is like, this show is so good. This is the best show I've ever seen. And I always see stuff that I don't agree with on Twitter, but I keep going. But I saw his tweets and I had to stop, and I was like, I can't allow this opinion. Sam, change your opinion.
I'm gonna keep that in the final.
I will. Hi, Sam. I love you.